What you're about to see is the story of a journey of love. Love for the beloved guardian and love for a people and land which had been family and home during the childhood and youth of the Hand of the Cause of God, Mr. Furitan. The journey, which commenced on March 15, 1990 and ended 45 days later, took him to Moscow, Ashgabat, Tashkent, Dushanbe, Samarkand, Mari, Leningrad, and Murmansk. It was a trip full of miraculous events which fulfilled the promise of the beloved guardian expressed in his letter of May 1930. In the spring of 1930, immediately after his graduation in psychology and pedagogy from the University of Moscow, Mr. Furitan was ordered to leave the Soviet Union because of his adherence to the Baha'i faith. On arrival in Iran, in reply to his letter describing the conditions of the faith in Ashgabat, the beloved guardian replied,
می‌فرمایند یار معنوی از مشاکل حالیه ملول و افسرده مگردید. اون چه باقی و پاینده است تأسیسات یاران اون سامان است. صبر و تحمل لازم. حال اجالتاً در خطه ایران به خدمات امریه مشغول گردید. امیدوارم در مستقبل ایام در ممالک روسیه نیز به خدمات باهره جلیله مفتخر شوید. بنده آستانش شوقی.
In obedience to the beloved guardian's instructions, he devoted himself to the service of the faith in Iran. After his marriage to Ataye Khanum in 1931, he spent nearly 2 years in Seysan, Azerbaijan, establishing a school and educating the Baha'i children. In 1933, at the instruction of the beloved guardian, he was appointed the principal of the Tarbiyat school in Tehran. And in the same year, he was elected to the first National Spiritual Assembly of the Baha'is of Iran and served as its secretary for 24 years. He was among the first contingent of the Hands of the Cause of God appointed by Shoghi Effendi in 1951. Upon the passing of the beloved guardian in 1957, he was chosen as one of the 9 Hands of the Cause of God residing in the Holy Land, guiding the affairs of the faith through one of the most challenging periods of its history. In March 1990, accompanied by Knight of Baha'u'llah Mrs. Iran Furitan Mohajer and auxiliary board member Dr. Faramarz Ettehadieh, Mr. Furitan returned to the Soviet Union.
حالا بعد از 60 سال من موفق شدم که دوباره به اون ممالک سفر کنم. من یقین داشتم که روزی خواهم رفت، چرا که اینطور فرمودم، اما کی برای من معلوم نبود.
The first stop was Moscow, and the first of the 9 meetings with the Friends of Moscow was held in the home of pioneers from England, Richard and Corinne Hainsworth.
Кого желаешь, приближаешь ты к величайшему океану. И кому восхочешь, даруешь честь узнать древнейшее имя твое. Из тех, что в небесах и на земле, никто не может противостоять исполнению твоей владыческой воли. Извечно правишь ты всем творением, и во веки веков ты будешь распространять свою власть над всеми созданиями.
The friends were delighted to hear for the first time news of the progress of the faith around the world.
Я имею сейчас прочту. Может быть, это ново для вас, может, я не знаю, может быть, слыхали или нет. Как бахаизм, бахаистская религия распространена по земному шару. Я очевидец. Это не рассказ, это не сказка. Это не анекдот. Я был сам в этих странах. Я видел, своими глазами я видел 43 страны во всей части глобуса.
The next day, Mr. Furitan left for the southern republics of the Soviet Union. Meeting the friends of Ishkabad, the city where he had spent his youth and where his father was buried, was a great emotional experience. The first meeting was at the home of Mr. Naji, his former student, who had spent 18 years in the hard labor camps of Kazakhstan. Mrs. Muhajir thus recounts.
We heard so many stories of hardship and steadfastness. Most of the women who are now alive had lost their husbands in early years of exile and had to bring up their children on their own in the wilderness of Siberia and Kazakhstan. Azami Khanum's husband was abducted by the authorities in the second year of their banishment and was not heard of anymore. She remained steadfast in the cause and instilled the love of Baha'u'llah in her children. Her eldest daughter, Malika Khanum, is now married to Mr. Naji. Masum Khanum, despite her 60 years of isolation and exile, chants Abdul Baha's Turkish prayers from memory.
Günahım deryası, dükyanı çoktur, ancak babi ehdiyatından başka panahım yoktur. Rabbim, Rabbim.
Abbas Quli Khan is 92 years old and was incarcerated in Siberia for 12 years. He is proud that once he was kept on his knees for 12 days and 12 nights, deprived of food and sleep, but did not recant his faith. He recites his own poems in praise of Baha'u'llah in all meetings. There are about 25 young adult Baha'is, mostly children of the exiled Baha'is. They are all highly educated and now with access to Baha'i literature are deepening in the teachings and bring many of their colleagues to the meetings. Saida Turkaman declared her faith in a meeting with my father.
I'm very happy. Mr. Furitan, I'm very good. I believe in this in Baha'i faith. I hope that mankind is one.
Salahuddin Ayubov is a young physicist and he represented the Baha'i community of Baku. He had made a special trip to carry the news of the faith back to his restive homeland.
زمین معبد بهایی زمین اعظم که اسم قدیمش بوده.
The site of the Temple of Ishkabad, the first Mashriqul Askar of the Baha'i dispensation, set amidst luxurious gardens and tree-lined avenues in the heart of the city, symbol of the triumph of the cause, spiritual center of a flourishing community of thousands of believers. Haji Muhammad Taghi Afnan, surnamed Vakil-ud-Dawleh, the founder of the temple. Ustad Muhammad Reza Yazdi, the chief builder. Through the unified efforts of the friends and teachers like Agha Sayyid Mehdi Golpaigani, Ishkabad grew to manifest the meaning of its name, the city of love. During the 1930s, the entire Baha'i community was exiled, externally to Iran and internally to Siberia and Kazakhstan. The few who survived the tribulations gradually made their way back to Ishkabad, to Mary, and to Samarkand. Despite the loss of all Baha'i literature and contacts, they remained steadfast in the cause through 2 generations. In Ishkabad, 25 meetings were held with the Friends, in which the Hand of the Cause expounded the teachings of the faith and gave them news of the rest of the Baha'i world. The highlight was the Nowruz festival. In a meeting with Mr. Furitan, the Soviet Minister of Religious Affairs for Turkmenistan had expressed his wish to send a representative to the Nowruz celebrations. His deputy, Mr. Grigorovich, accepted the invitation of the local spiritual assembly and attended the festivities.
При Совете министров Союза СССР по Туркменской ССР поздравляю вас с Новым годом, с вашим национальным праздником и желаю здоровья вам, улыбок вам, нежности вам и терпения.
Спасибо.
Самое главное — терпение. Все будет сделано, только терпение.
Чтобы я был верный тебе, имея лишь тебя в виду, забывая про себя и всегда помни про то, что принадлежит тебе. О Боже, мой Боже, не отверни от меня благообразного Духа.
On the last day, the Hand of the Cause of God offered prayers at the graves of Ishkabad's illustrious Baha'i teachers in the old cemetery which had survived the terrible earthquake of 1948. Nabil Akbar, Sayyid Mehdi Golpaygani, Agha Sheikh Muhammad Ali, and Haji Muhammad Reza, the first martyr of Russia, whose death and the dramatic intercession of the Baha'is on behalf of his murderers helped pave the way for the building of the temple.
مبتهلا إلى ملكوت أنوارك في الليل والنهار أن تنظر إلينا بعين عنايتك ولحظات طرف رحمانيتك وتغفر لنا ذنوبنا وخطايانا.
Tashkent, the center of Uzbekistan, which once had a thriving Baha'i community and a local spiritual assembly, is coming alive again. At present, many are interested in the faith and are studying the teachings. Nowruz is now officially designated as the New Year's Day for the Republic of Uzbekistan. Dushanbe, the capital of Tajikistan, has about 30 adult Baha'is, mostly members of one family. Mr. Mamedov, a retired teacher of geography, is 82 years old and very respected by the townspeople, many of whom are his students. His eldest daughter, Jahanara Khanum, is a professor of physics at the University of Tajikistan and is now the chairman of the newly elected local spiritual assembly.
И о помиловании, подобно тому, как и ты желаешь слугам твоим направить пути свои к тебе. Молю тебя, смой грехи наши, как должно по господству твоему, и прости меня, моих родителей и тех, кто в разумении твоем вошел в чертог твоей любви, как подобает твоему неприходящему господству и соответствует славе твоей небесной силы.
В течение секунд, я могу сказать, не часов, а секунд, после 13 лет
что она была против моего отца и против атеизма. Она приняла. Теперь для меня тоже было, конечно, легче. Мы переехали в Ашхабад. Я был сперва в бахаистской школе, потом в русской. Я знал об бахаизме кое-что.
As she relates, a lecture on child psychology by Mr. Furitan, arranged by her at the university, was attended by 400 students and faculty members and was greatly applauded.
بد نیست. دانشگاه خیلی کهنه است و معلمینی خیلی زیاد داره و دیروز تقریباً 400 نفر از شاگردان اونجا بودن با معلمین و با پروفسورهای خیلی زیاد. اینا خیلی خوشحال بودن از ملاقات با آقای فروتن.
The friends in Dushanbe vigorously study the faith and teach their friends. Recently, Larissa and Nael Kuramin, both prominent physicians, accepted the faith and are very active. Samarkand, the historic capital of Uzbekistan, where the great Baha'i scholar Abul Fazail, on instructions from Abdul Baha, spent nearly 3 years to teach the faith, and where Mullah Ali Bajistani, an early Baha'i teacher, and Mr. Tamheed, who was incarcerated for 20 years in hard labor camps, are buried. Dr. Ataullah Khan, a prominent and well-known Afghani nobleman, was the sole fruit of Abul Fazail's endeavors. His daughter and other descendants are now the standard bearers of the faith.
Mr. Munjazeb is 84 years old and is the head of the interrelated household of Afghani, Tamheed, and Munjazeb. He proudly boasted that he had spent 19 years and 19 days in the labor camps of Siberia for Baha'u'llah. Samarkand has a wonderful community. They are outstanding in their devotion to the faith. Their forbearance and steadfastness has borne fruits, and now their local spiritual assembly is formed. In the 1920s, the ancient city of Mari had vied with Ishqabad in the number of Baha'is. My mother's family lived there, and my mother was born in Mari. At present, a small band of valiant Baha'is have continued to keep the flame alive. Their local spiritual assembly was formed recently.
افواج روحانیه و امواج بحر رحمانی کلمات کتاب مقدسم و آیات ملکوت عظمت ای پروردگار حوض و حمایت فرما و از عنایت مبذول کن بسیار منگر و به احسان بپرور اصول مگیر و زنوب بیامرز جان محمد
خان محمد
جان محمد
خان محمد جان
تقویز برست رسرائم
یک دعای خروج از بیتم بخونیم ما زحمت کم بی سواسه
Leaving the south, the hand of the cause returned to Moscow. He visited his former university in Moscow. The campus was little changed, and he was able to walk through his dormitory and the College of Psychology.
Knight of Baha'u'llah for Belorussia, Helmut Winkelbach, had arranged the tour. Our guide was a bright young graduate student of psychology, and he was the chairman of the university committee which had arranged the first ever international seminar in Russia to debate the relationship of science and religion. He was so taken by my father that he invited him to address the seminar, which was chaired by the dean of the university and had 2 priests as speakers.
Когда мы приехали в Ашхабад, мы имели храм, Бехаийский храм. Я бехаист. Я не знаю, вы слыхали об этом или нет. Это учение называется бехаизмом. Я бехаист. I said, I am a Baha'i, follower of Baha'u'llah. This is our religion. And I should tell you that one of the most important principles of Baha'i faith is harmony between science and religion. And I said, Abdul Baha, the successor of Baha'u'llah, he says, never it could be that the real religion will be against the real science.
The editor of a prestigious Soviet publication, Science and Religion, who the Baha'is had been trying to contact, was in the audience and after the talk approached my father and asked for an article about the faith. The next day, the editor of Progress, a Soviet publishing house, Helmut's friend, informed my father that he had read his book Mothers, Fathers, and Children and asked permission to print 250,000 copies in Russian and 4 Asiatic languages.
The Soviet state television, through the efforts of Andrew Bromfield, interviewed Mr. Furitan about the faith. The hour-long interview was to be broadcast as part of the Sunday religious program.
Shokat Rahmatullayev, the reporter, was very impressed with the faith. My father told him that his son-in-law's name had been Rahmatullah. He was delighted and told my father, please consider me as your son. I think of you as my father and will never forget you.
Будда, верим также в Кришна, в сабинизм, а even даже в сабинизм. Мы верим в христианство, в иудаизм. Иначе говоря, все религии, по нашему убеждению, все от Бога, и нет разницы между людьми.
Mr. Furitan left Moscow for the northern provinces. In Leningrad, the faith has put down strong roots, and the new Baha'is are actively teaching, and their local spiritual assembly was recently formed. In addition to meeting the friends, the Hand of the Cause spoke to the annual meeting of the Society of Peace about the Baha'i teachings for world peace and to the gathering of teachers for spiritual awakening on Baha'i education. The community of Murmansk, the northernmost city of the Soviet Union, though very young, is vibrant and active and has recently elected its first local spiritual assembly. The friends had arranged for a welcoming announcement for Mr. Furitan's arrival on television, and the next day, Murmansk Radio and Television conducted an extensive interview with him about the faith.
Здесь статистика всех религий. Это фотокопии от этого энциклопедии Британики. Вы можете найти Yearbook 1898 года. Новое издание. Главный принцип механизма, хотя это коротко, но я хочу изложить ясно и коротко. Главный принцип механизма это.
A talk was given by the Hand of the Cause in the College of Marxism Studies at the University of Murmansk, where Mr. Furitan introduced the faith to an audience of professors of psychology.
Во Франции я сказал то же самое, в Германии, везде и всюду. Потом я рисовал на доске сердце ребенка. Я говорю, разделяю на две части. Одна часть принадлежит вашей любой стране, а другая часть национальной.
On his return to Moscow on the 2nd of May, Mr. Furitan participated in the joyous festivities of the celebration of the 9th day of Rizvan. Lev Borisovich Evgevarov, a decorated Soviet cellist, accompanied by his pianist mother, performed for the friends. A few days after meeting the hand of the cause, they both declared their faith in Baha'u'llah. The most historic event of the entire trip was the election of the local spiritual assembly of the Baha'is of Moscow, which was preceded by a special deepening by Mr. Furitan on the procedures of Baha'i elections.
Это самым большим праздником в бахаизме, потому что день прокламации Баха'у'ллаха, что он посланник Божий. И это сейчас во всем мире, не только в Москве, все бахаисты празднуют этот великий день.
60 years earlier, Moscow had been blessed with a large Baha'i community. Now, the Friends were once again electing their local spiritual assembly. The local convention was conducted with prayers and readings and a talk by the hand of the cause.
Можешь ли найти кого-либо, кроме меня, о перо в сей день? Что стало с творением и с явителем его? Что с именами и с царствованием? Куда ушло все сотворенное, видимое и невидимое? Что стало с сокровенными тайнами Вселенной и откровениями их? Узри, ушло все творение. Ничего не осталось, кроме лика моего, всепостоянного, блистательного, всеславного. O thou incomparable God, O thou Lord of the kingdom, these souls are thy heavenly army. And with the cohorts of the supreme concourse, make them victorious, so that each one of them may become like unto a regiment, and conquer these countries from the love of God and the illumination of divine teaching.
Капли в море, капли. Но капля, когда падает в море, это уже море. Вы можете разделить, что это была капля дождя? Ребятам я учитель, психолог, учитель, педагог. Самый смертный человек, простой смертный человек. Когда я говорю детьми, я говорю, мои дорогие дети, мы все нуль. Zero по-английски, zero, нуль. Все нуль. Это значит, мы ничего. Но надо просить Бога, надо молиться, чтобы Бог поставил нас на правую, не на правую сторону, а не на левую сторону цифр, на правую сторону.
Mr. Muzaffar Namdar was appointed by the National Spiritual Assembly of Germany as the chief teller and had come from Finland.
Тогда прошу Полин, дорогой, прочитать? Она.
Marina Asmus. Hussein Akhundov.
Hussein Akhundov.
Sanaba Akhundov. Valery Barvashov. Andrew Bromfield. Vivian Bromfield. Nadezhda Lendikova. Helmut Winkelbach. Olga. Ashraf Bebakov. Irina Goncharova. Ludmila Krastenkova. Tatiana Denko. Michael Driscoll. Gulam Kazimov. Olga Kazimova. Stanislav Tomczyborski. Regina Krasivskaya. Anna Muchnik. Galina Nibolsina.
Although some of the friends of the young Baha'i community of Moscow had been Baha'is for less than a week, 100% participation in the election was achieved.
Our prayers, thoughts and best wishes for your new local assembly.
Наши молитвы, мысли и лучшие пожелания вашему новому местному духовному совету.
And for each and every one of you are with you.
И также каждому из вас, и всем вам, да будут с вами.
With loving Baha'i greetings, the National Spiritual Assembly of the Baha'is of Germany.
While the ballots were being counted, the messages of various national assemblies were read, and then the Rizvan message of the Universal House of Justice, translated into Russian, was read in its entirety.
Мы будем молиться от имени каждого и за каждого из вас у священного порога. Всемирный Бог справедливости.
Виде получили голоса. Самое большое количество. Первый – Винкельбах Хельмут.
The election result was greeted with great delight.
Второй – Кольцевовский Станислав.
Спасибо.
Третий – Хейнворт Ричард. Бромфильд Вивиан. Еще девочки покажем. Касымова Ольга. Хейнсворт Корин. Bromfield Andrew. Скрепцова Мария. Ibatov Ashraf.
I never saw in my life, I was for 24 years National Secretary in Iran, and I met so many local assemblies. I never saw in any corner of the world such assembly that for different nationalities. You see, two English, pure English, one German, and one Jewish background Russian, one Caucasian, a famous painter, that his paintings all in museums. Very, very famous man, everybody knows him, his painting. One lady who is a treasurer now, half Armenian, half Russian blood. Such international assembly, and everybody is capable and very strong Baha'i, very deep Baha'i. This is first local assembly in Moscow after 6 years.
What will remain and persist will be the institutions which the Friends have established in that land.